Hello. So I had a few requests to actually film my portion of this presentation outside. I think a lot of us just probably need to get outside and take a big deep breath and realize that we are so blessed. I'm really, really excited to share my words with you today. It's something that I feel incredibly passionately about. So I'm Kirsten Kirschbaum. I live in Hawaii with my husband Kyle and our 5 boys. So we're raising them wild on the beach. But I want to bring you into my world a little bit and show you the way that I have structured my life to become financially secure, how I teach my children to do the same, how my parents taught me to do that, and how working with doTerra has truly been this perfect puzzle piece in the financial security that each of us can create in our own lives. So come with me as I bring you to my dining room table here. This is actually a picture of me with my 5 children. As you can see, we are playing a game. I think it's really valuable for us to learn together, having fun and playing games. And as you and I talk today, we'll play a little game called Your Freedom Factor. But what my children and I are playing here is called the game of cash flow. And if you played it before, you kind of know that the object of the game is to become financially free, right? And how do you become financially free? Well, I'm going to tell you all that in just a minute. But the first step in this game, as it relates also to the first step in our lives, right, is to choose your pathway. So I'll tell you what, my 2 boys that are sitting close to me there on my left side, they both chose the financial pathway of being NBA All-Star players. So you may see them in the future playing basketball. The one across with the blue shirt on, that is my gamer, and he's convinced that he will be a professional YouTuber and video game programmer. I have no doubt he will fulfill those dreams. My oldest son, there pictured in the black, he's been around long enough and has witnessed his parents create financial security and freedom by building doTerra, so he chose the path of doTerra for his career. And the little one there passed out on the table. Maybe, just maybe, some of you feel like you are passed out on a table right now, and really you just need someone to pick your career for you and tell you exactly what to do and really play your game for you, right? And that's okay. I think we've all been there. But what I want you to understand, the object of this game, the object of what I teach my children, what I teach my team, what you need to know in choosing a financial pathway is, how can you become financially independent and secure? And I think now more than ever, right? Security, it's what we're all seeking. It's someone to tell us that it's going to be okay. And really, it's more about us telling ourselves that it's going to be okay because we are that confident in the career pathway that we have chosen. So by the end of this presentation, there's going to be 3 things that you learn. So number 1, we will determine your freedom factor together. I'll show you how to do that. The second thing, we will go over some popular options. I think it's a valuable conversation for us to have, where we look at maybe some of the things you've tried, some of the things that your friends are trying, and some of the best ways to actually create financial security and abundance in your life. And the last thing is, we will discuss and show you the power of true residual income. Okay, so let's jump right in to your freedom factor. Now, I'm going to help you determine your own freedom factor, but first, just so you know, really the goal in any career path is to create an asset that produces enough income for you each month to cover your expenses and hopefully more, right? So this is your freedom factor. Now let's determine your freedom factor. Let's ask a couple of questions while we figure this out together, okay? So number 1, I want you to really think about your life right now and ask yourself, when do you want to be financially free? Now, I know the obvious answer is like, yesterday, actually, or 2 weeks ago would have been nice, right? But realistically, with putting all your efforts into a business, into something you're going to really do, when can you expect to be financially free? Okay, so you just decide which one of those things you want. So question number 2, how much money monthly do you actually need to create to become financially free? So what I mean by this, I want you to just take a second and write down all of your monthly expenses. Okay, so this is going to be your rent payment or your mortgage payment, any utility payments, car payments, insurance, gas, food, obligations like that, right? If you've got some absolute must-haves in there, put them in there. So this is your monthly expenses. So, somewhere between 2 and 5, maybe 50 to 100, somewhere in between there. So go ahead and choose that, okay? So next thing is this is where it gets fun. What I want you to do is multiply your answer from question number 2 by 200. So let's just say, for example, you chose $5,000. So you need a minimum of $5,000 a month, every single month, to come in, whether, you're working, whether you're not working, like you got to have $5,000 to be able to survive, right? You take that amount and you times it by 200. Okay, so this actually gives you the amount that you would need to invest at 6% interest monthly to receive your monthly income. If you chose 5,000, for example, you would need to invest 1 million, because 5,000 times 200 equals 1 million, right? So $1 million, if you had that invested into like a retirement account or something like that at a very conservative 6%, will create $60,000 a year in interest that you are living off of. That's your residual income, right? And if you divide 12 months, divide that by 12 months, that gives you your $5,000 a month, okay? So think about that answer and think about, if your number was 5,000, for example, what is your plan? Well, first of all, do you already have $1 million invested? Maybe you do, right? But I would dare say that most of us don't. In fact, statistically speaking, most people don't. So what's your plan to accumulate this money? Now, how much money do you think you'd have to save every month over the next 5 years to actually save $1 million? What do you guys think? Ding, ding, ding. The answer is actually $16,000. So that is actually, you would have to save $16,000 a month to get to $1 million in the bank. Again, invested conservatively at 6% to generate a $5,000 a month income. That would be your asset that is generating that residual income. So I want to talk now about some of the ways that you might choose to create this residual income. Right now, traditionally speaking, I think most of us have experienced being an employee, right? And so, that's basically where you have a job, and your income is really determined by your effort, your dollars you receive for the hours that you give. Pretty easy to understand, right? I think most of us here have either had a job or have a job, but we're also looking for that side hustle, right? That way that somehow we're going to be able to create an additional income. So a lot of us turn to being self-employed, right? And I have a lot of friends that do this. So many friends of mine are coaches and yoga teachers and, health and business coaches, chiropractors, wellness professionals. I mean, there's a lot of options. In fact, my father is self-employed. He sells used cars, and I grew up on his car lot learning how to sell cars in that way. He's always really happy about working for himself. But, if someone wants to buy a car at any time, day or night, Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever it may be, he's the guy that has to go sell that car, right? So even when you're self-employed, you really own a job, and it still is very much an effort-based income. So let's kind of transition now to becoming a business owner and moving more into some asset creating income. So as a business owner, in the beginning, it probably still feels like you own a job, right? But if you work it right and you create systems and you have a team of people who are on your side and you guys are doing this together, you can actually become a business owner where you own a system and people do work for you. So there are some benefits to that. However, I have been a business owner with my husband Kyle for many years, and I got to tell you, the liability and the stress of owning that business that generated about the same amount of money I make with doTerra now, but with about 500 employees and massive liability, I wouldn't wish that on very many people. I think it's a very stressful way to live life. However, there is some good production that comes out of that, right? The fourth category here is really becoming an investor and creating assets that generate income for you, really whether you're working or whether you're not, right? We won't spend too much time in that category today, as it doesn't apply at this exact moment for you. However, I do think it's amazing to get to a place where you have enough income generated that you do have that discretionary income to become an investor. So definitely an exciting category to discuss another time. What I want to do with you guys for the rest of our time together is to spend time looking at comparing a few of your options: a self-employed business owner versus a regular business owner versus a doTerra business owner, okay? And so as a self-employed business owner, you've got 100% of your own efforts, right? And that's how you generate your income. You own a job, as I said before. Your time equals your money. You really have only 100% of your efforts, right? Which some people really like, but again, it doesn't create any time freedom. You really have no leverage there, and you start over at zero every single month. So you've got to keep selling in order to create profits. And most of these businesses don't have a residual income. So if we compare this to being a doTerra entrepreneur, we've got me with 100 of my team members, right? And growing, each giving our best. But even if we just had 1% of our efforts every single day, 1% of my effort times 100 people is still 100% of all of our efforts, right? It's this really beautiful team thing where you times all the people in your organization is what equals your income. And you have a system, a product, and a service that people really love working with you, right? There's really exponential growth that exists here, and you get the maximum leverage of your time with absolute residual income and that time freedom and security, right? So I just wanted to talk quickly about some popular options. Now, in preparation for this presentation, I actually interviewed a lot of yoga teachers, health coaches, chiropractors, amazing women and men who host retreats and, detox programs and sell their coaching packages and all those things. And in fact, a lot of them still have to drive for Uber just to make ends meet. And we do what we gotta do, right? I totally get it. Like, we gotta make ends meet. But any way you look at it, we're all looking for the same thing. We're all looking for customers, and customers who actually want to engage with us and exchange with us, and hoping that those customers actually have money to spend on these services, right? And we have to really take a look at our service is essential, especially in an economy like right now. Will we be able to withstand when people have to start deleting things from what they can do, right? And do we have a product that is so helpful and so needful in a time of economic crisis? It's really kind of interesting to look at what you're putting your time into, right? So I want to shift also real quickly into being a business owner. And, as a business owner, you actually do have the leverage of people. You times the people does equal your income. You've got a lot of growth potential here, but it's limited to the amount that you can spend, right? You want to, open new offices, get new phone systems, expand new call centers, however you want to do it. That's going to take a lot of resources. There's a massive, massive investment and overhead in running a large enough business that will create the type of income that you really want. And you've got a lot of high liability. You are completely responsible for the merchant accounts, the shipping, the insurance, really low leverage of time. And it's hard work, a lot of stress. And yeah, I've lived that life. So I want to compare it to, again, being a doTerra entrepreneur is like the best of both worlds. It's like you get to be a solo entrepreneur and a business owner with systems. You still get to leverage you and your team, which equals your income. There's exponential growth. You've got $100 a month minimum overhead, which is not a lot if you think about it being a real business, right? You have a system, a product, and a service that helps people. You really have little to no liability, which is pretty amazing. doTerra kind of takes all of that on for us, right? And you've got residual income. And you know, really the most important thing to me is the ability to pass on my knowledge and help other people do what I'm doing. You know, there's a quick example here. I mean, you could own Pizza Hut right now, which I imagine is doing pretty well, where lots of people are ordering takeout pizza, you know, because we can't leave our homes. But there's such a massive upfront cost with that. And, you know, the profits are really between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. So it's interesting to look at how much you want to put into something to spend your time and your resources and your money, and what are you going to get out of it? And you know, the good news is some people have actually found an easier way to create $5,000 a month and to live off that, right? That residual income. So I want to talk to you now really about the point. Earning a residual income is really like earning interest on money in the bank, right? So I want to show you what this actually equals. So just being elite, and I don't want to say just, because being elite is amazing. So if you have achieved the rank of elite and you are seeing, you know, on average between, you know, $200 and $400 a month or something coming in, did you know that that is actually the same as having $48,000 in the bank at 6% interest? So you might say, oh, I'm just an elite, but you could also say that you have created an asset that is paying you the same as having $48,000 in the bank. So how long would it take you to save and that is save $48,000 that would pay you that residual income? So becoming a premier is like even better. When you look at it this way, can you see the security and the abundance that is created? How long would it take you to save $100,000 to create a premier income? This shows you some other possibilities of what it looks like to get paid as a premier. And here's silver. So again, if you're silver and you just qualified for leadership, and you know, I'm sorry that Arizona kind of shut us down. That wasn't cool. But you know, we're just staying safe and positive, right? But if you're just that brand new silver and you've created an asset, do you understand what you have? It's amazing. It's the difference really between earning an income and creating an asset income. And I just want you to really understand what it is that you have created here and what you can help other people create too. So this goes on, of course, you know, really moving into having assets. So there's that magical number, having $1 million in the bank, right? That generates on average, again, about $5,000 a month. That looks like a gold or platinum income for you. So when you think about creating a gold income, what you're really doing is talking about generating an asset that is like having $1 million in the bank at 6% invested conservatively, right? And you have the option to help so many other people do the same. It's just amazing. So you can see here how powerful it is and how many people actually achieve just like saving $48,000 in the bank, creating an elite income in their first 2 to 3 months. It's just really, really cool to understand the power of residual income, to understand the security that is created by generating this asset and then teaching other people to do the same. I honestly can't think of a better way to create financial freedom in your life. And really, just to kind of break it down a little bit more for you, just earning your $50 Power of 3 bonus is the same as having $12,000 in the bank. So when you think about like, oh, I got my Power of 3 this month, like, yeah, it's also like adding $12,000 to your bank account that pays you at 6% interest residually. You know, it's just fun. It's fun to think about it that way. So as you're building your business to that residual $5,000 a month, if that was your freedom factor. Now, if your freedom factor was less or more than that, then you can gauge accordingly, right? But it really is like doTerra depositing $16,000 a month for the next 5 years. it's going to keep going after that. Don't underestimate the power of what you have already created with this business. It is amazing, and it will continue growing and growing forever. You know, the biggest blessing, the absolute best part of what I get to do is to help other people do the same thing. I am incredibly grateful for visionary and loving mentors, like you can see here, my lovely Melina Harrison, who had enough faith in me to share the power of residual income and helping others and creating a massive impact around the world. That is the opportunity that exists for you right now. I hope you will come along with us. If you were maybe questioning if it's for you or you're not really sure, I'm telling you right now, there is nothing that is creating more security in my heart, in my mind, in my world, in my community right now than the residual income that we have created and the ability to build teams of educated, conscious, awake entrepreneurs around the world. It's amazing, and I haven't ever witnessed another kind of business that you could pass on your knowledge so easily to others to help them create the same thing. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Your business partners are even more excited to see you succeed. I'm like a proud mama at a graduation when I see my amazing team members achieving what they set out to do. And I know that each of you guys can do that too. So I've chosen doTerra and network marketing. I know that many of you have as well. It is absolutely one of the fastest ways to your freedom factor. There's a minimum operating cost of like $100, maybe $200 on some months, right? Every month. Really, there's an ability, it's a level playing field for anybody to build a multi-million-dollar asset. There is a proven roadmap to success. We don't hide that roadmap from you. In fact, we just blast it all over on all of our team pages and our websites. We want you to have all of our secrets, right? You have wealth with freedom, and there's nothing better than that. You have success without overwhelming liabilities. And when you have that freedom from those liabilities, you get to make better decisions about how you conduct your life and business. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And you really have that fulfillment of seeing others share in your success. There will be a lot of hard work and personal development, probably a lot more than you've ever done in your entire life, but you will see the fruits of your labor. You will realize that you've been prepared for this moment. And to create residual income in this way it's your right to do that. And I'm excited for you. We are going to be creating amazing things here. And I'm just really honored to be sharing this journey with you. Take care.